Well, I've got a little Easter project here. This is one of the 8-day clocks out of my aircraft. There are two, and this clock is suffering from the symptoms that most people call being overwound. But in actual fact, you can't overwind a clock. It's a myth. What it means is that it's wound fully because the spring won't unwind. Right? The spring won't unwind, not because it's been forced, but because it's stuck from being gummed up for years and years and years and not lubricated, cleaned and lubricated. So the way you fix a so-called overwound clock is you clean and lubricate it. I've only ever worked on one clock before, so wish me luck. Okay, so there it is off the little plate that mounted on the panel. I'll see if I can show you. Let's see, there you go. Notice it ticks for a little bit when you bump it sometimes. That's a sure sign that it's all gummed up inside. So let's see if we can get inside. That's a pretty fine screwdriver, that one. Let's try the other one before we go too far. So far, so good. Don't know about those adjuster screws. Well, one of them's an adjuster screw to adjust the rate of the clock. The other one I'm not so sure of. These two little screws are loose, but they're not coming out. Alright, let's see. Don't think we're going to get that screw to turn somehow. Just don't think it wants to turn. That screwdriver isn't fine enough. This one might be. Nope. Well, maybe. That screw does not want to move. Huh. Well, I am pretty sure that that screw's got to come out. In order to get that shaft undone. But I don't think it's going to come out. I don't want to risk wrecking it. Oh, there it goes. It comes. That lubricant did the job. That's an interesting shape. It's an odd way to do a grub screw. Interesting. Right. See the little gear in there? Sits on top of another gear. Is there a spring in there? Yep, that's a spring. I reckon that comes out, but it looks like it needs a special tool. I'm going to need my magnifier for that one. But the question is, how does the clock come apart? It doesn't seem like there's a join here at the back. Seems like that's all one piece. Yeah, pretty certain it is. So where does it come apart? I can see the face comes off, but I doubt that's it. Well, my conclusion is that it comes out via the dial and face, because there's no split in it anywhere. Only the face comes out. So I don't really know what to make of that. Because ideally you would want this out of the way, and I dare not try to undo what I suspect is some kind of a nut down in the bottom there. And I don't know, there is no obvious way to get the face out. It doesn't have any slots in it as though it's screwed out, pinned out. But just how you do that without breaking the face, I have no idea. So, in the absence of any other means to do anything with it, I would like to get in and paint that red hand, but I think this is where I bail out, and so I can't see any way that it comes apart. I think what I will do is clean it and lube it without pulling it apart. It's not the best idea, but it just might work. Well, it made it go. That definitely made it go. So what we might do is, you see the hand is running there. So that cleaning is working. So I'm going to reassemble it after I let the spring wind down. So that's going to take about 8 days. But that's definitely got the clock going now. I'm just going to clean it a little more. That really worked well. Now this cleaner is a lubricant as well. I think what I will do is put it back together, see how it goes, and if it doesn't work for very long, I'll get a watchmaker to do it. The thing about these jobs is you've got to know when you're very definitely stepping outside of your boundaries. And given that I think the face has to come out, I don't have tools to do that very well. I'm sure there's a special tool that's used for that job. But we've certainly got a working clock here now. I would like to get the red hands painted. So at some point I will take it to a watchmaker. Unless by some miracle this glass pops out right now, which I can't see happening. Well, I'm not sure if this is going to be the intro or the outro. You'll know because you're watching it. But I started videoing myself repairing this Waltham 8-day aircraft clock. And it basically was what some people call overwound, which I'll explain in the video. But anyway, I'm not sure I managed to record all of the work that I was doing. So I'll just do a quick summary now, and then you can watch the video to see the rest of it. As you can see, the clock is now going. It was just basically all gummed up, needed a service. I've just cleaned it. I think ultimately I'll send it to a professional to get it further done. I'm going to put it back in the aircraft for now, but when I get time to take it down to Sydney, I'll get it professionally done, and while the watchmaker's got it, I'll get these red hands repainted. So, just in summary, it became obvious as I was looking at this clock that the way to access the time adjustment, which was one of the things that I wanted to do because it is running slightly slow, the way to get to that adjustment is to remove this ring here from around the bezel, and then you can access a very fine screw that adjusts the time. I'll give you a look at that in a second. I decided it's not worth doing that. I'll risk breaking the crystal if I attempt that, so I'm not going to attempt it. I did have a look at the mechanism, and it finally makes sense to me how it's adjusted. It's with a very fine screw. Anyway, with a clean, it's all working. I've got the other one to do now. There are 2 clocks in the aircraft. So the adjustment access is oddly enough here, but it's not actually possible that I can see to adjust it unless you have a very special tool. I'll give you a look at that in a second. Okay, so if I take the adjustment plug out, like so. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see down in there, but we'll see if we can get some light in there. No, I don't think you will. But that's the adjustment mechanism in there, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but there's a very fine screw that runs, that you would have to access from the side. In other words, the mechanism would have to be out. So I don't know why they've provided us a plug here to get at the adjustment, because it's not actually possible to do it through that access hole. So we'll get the watchmaker to do it. And while he's got it, he can repaint the hands. But as I say, for now it'll go back in the aircraft. I'm just very happy that I've managed to get it working. And if it's a little bit slow, just like my DG, I'll correct it as I'm flying. It's just nice to have it working. And we'll do the other clock, as I say. Well, this time I'm down at the aircraft and I've got the other clock out. This clock is a different brand. I think it's a different brand anyway. It's certainly smaller as well. Let's have a look what it is. Navy. Oh, it's a Waltham as well. It's the same brand, different size. Clearly made for the Navy. So it's not going as well. Let's see if we can... A tap will make it run. No, it doesn't. Let's try a couple other things to see. Just set the camera there. One of the things that I found works is you just jiggle the winder a bit, then tap it, and sometimes it goes. Not this one though. So we're going to give this one a clean, and hopefully it's I can't speak this morning. Hopefully it's as successful as the other was. Let's try. We'll start with the obligatory spray of lube. That screw's almost out. I think someone's had a go at this one. Okay, let's see what we've got here. That one's coming out. Let's see if we can get this one out. I wonder if it's got the same adjuster mechanism. That one's coming out as well. Whoops, I dropped it. This time we won't pull those screws out. We'll just clean it like this, if that will work. Just pick up that. All right. Similar mechanism from what I can see. Oh, different adjuster though. Maybe you can see this adjuster a little bit better. Let me get my head torch. Yeah, this adjuster will be easier to adjust. I don't think I'm going to be able to show it to you though. Well, maybe I can. There you go. See that little lever there? So that one's going to be easier to do. Alright, let's give it a lube and see where we end up. A lube and a clean. I just hope it works as well as the other one did. I don't have high hopes though. I didn't really have high hopes with the other one, to be honest. Let's leave that soak a bit. Can I detect any movement in there? I can see the fluid moving around. I don't know if it's moving because it's bubbling or if the mechanism is moving. I didn't think I was going to have success with this one. I could get the balance wheel to move if I touched the gears, the bigger gears inside. Couldn't get it to move, so then I was shocking the spring winding like I showed you before by just nudging the winder, and it's freed it up. So I'd say we'll just leave it run a little bit. Once it's run for a little, I'll give it another clean. I can't believe that. I was absolutely certain that one was not going to go. Well, I waited a while and I cleaned it again and it stopped. But I've managed to get it going again, so hopefully we can keep it going. I'm just going to leave it sit there for a while, I think. Okay, so one advantage with this one is this C-clip. This circlip has actually had a bit of a gap in it, so I was able to lever it out, unlike the other clock. So that's how the mechanism comes out. I just don't know if the winder's got to be detached somehow as well, because this clock doesn't have any kind of a grub screw that I can see. It was badly corroded around that shaft though, you can still see some remnants of it. So let me see if I can get this out of here. Okay, so I have got the mechanism out, but the balance wheel won't keep running. So it's definitely all jammed up. I'll have a good look at it. See the balance wheel moving there now. If I keep the clock vertical, it may keep going. We'll try and give it a bit better clean. So here's where we're at. This here, the shaft there was a little corroded, well actually a lot corroded, and even these little screws that hold the mechanism in have got a minor bit of corrosion on them. In fact, one of them wouldn't come out of the case. You can see the corrosion on it there. I'll just give that a little scrape. The clock mechanism is sitting up here, and so far it's continuing to run. Well, there you go, there's our second clock all repaired. And it's got nice bright red hands. So there you go, we've now got 2 working clocks in the aircraft panel, which we didn't have before.